All right, everybody, welcome to the Senior Solutions Friday Agency webinar. We do this practically every single week. There's only a few weeks that we miss because of holidays or maybe a conflict with a travel schedule, but every single week, man, we work really hard to bring you guys great content, great sales information, product training, sales training, interviews with top agents, just a variety of different things. We've got a great show lined up for you today. I just have a couple of real quick announcements, and then honestly, we're going to get right into it without a lot of delay. The first real quick announcement is that if you need to reorder or get more supplies with your new agent starter kit, let me know. We're fully stocked here at the office. We send out everything priority mail, USPS priority mail. It'll get to you in 2 days. So, and if you're a new agent, if you haven't yet ordered your new agent starter kit, what are you waiting on? Get everything ordered, man. This is all the great tools that you're going to need. Because here's what I'm telling you. Things are opening up all over the country. Clients are ready to sit down with you. Maybe if you're in the a few areas that are highly populated and have severe outbreaks with the coronavirus, maybe those areas you want to stay out of. But I'm just telling you, like here in Chicago, unless you're like in the city, all the suburbs, man, like everything's open, everything's pretty much back to normal. Clients are ready to go see people or see agents. Florida, for the most part, is wide open. We got agents all over the state that are back doing business face to face. I think clients are sick and tired of being quarantined. Now granted, there are going to be a few areas, highly populated areas, where there's been a lot of outbreak with the coronavirus, but I'm just telling you, 95% of the country is getting back to normal. So this would be a great time to start ordering some leads, especially direct mail leads. We know still at the end of the day, listen, man, I've been making some pretty good sales selling over the phone, but man, I can't wait to get back out into the field, man. And that direct mail lead is still absolutely unequivocally the gold standard of final expense. Okay, so we'll definitely get, in the near future, we'll be doing some great training. Get back to our training on in-home sales presentations. Of course, we've got tons of great training on our website already. But moving on, our tip of the week is going to be, well, actually kind of two tips of the week. But the first thing I just want to touch on is who accepts the Direct Express card. A couple of agents over the last couple of weeks have ran into some situations where they're dealing with agents that didn't, or clients that didn't have bank accounts, and they had the Direct Express card and they weren't really sure where to go with this. It's not something that we run across a lot, but there are still clients out there that don't have a bank account, or if they do, they still prefer to have their money put on the Direct Express card. So we've got options for you guys to handle this. And if you're watching this right now, if this is a replay, you're watching this on YouTube, hey, do me a favor, subscribe to our channel. This way you have access and can go back and look at all of our archived videos. And if you're enjoying the content, if you feel like this was a great video and you've got something out of it, it'd be great if you could do me a favor, just give the video a thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate that. But the first carrier I want to talk about, who is making a great comeback with products and technology, is Transamerica. We all know back in November when Transamerica, they launched their new website, they launched their new e-application, they no longer took the old paper application. I'm just telling you, it was a complete train wreck, disastrous. And we pretty much stopped doing business with Transamerica there for a while. But what I can tell you is they have made significant strides to improve. I think they must have seen just an absolute collapse of their business and were scrambling and to try to get things figured out. I know I communicated with our rep quite often about the things that we didn't like, and they are continuously improving. But here's what I can tell you, is that their e-application is much better. They've streamlined it. They are continuing to streamline the process. But Transamerica is one of those carriers from the very beginning who accepted the direct express card. So if you got that client and you're able to do an e-application, and again, I would completely stay away from the Transamerica paper application. Even if you're face-to-face, you want to have your laptop or computer. Actually, you know what? Lee down in Miami actually informed me yesterday is that the Transamerica, you can actually do the application, the e-application from your mobile device. So even a smartphone, it's smartphone friendly, which is one of the few that are out there that you can do that. But the e-application is definitely the way to go. So if you've got that client that meets the criteria, Transamerica is a great way to go for your direct express clients. Another thing, real quick tip about Transamerica is that they've made some really good improvements on their Trendsetter product. So if you get a younger client, or let's say even an older client that's looking for a very good term product, they're in reasonable health, consider Transamerica. Their underwriting is now streamlined, it's better. And what I've noticed is that they're accepting a lot of cases that are being turned down by National Life Group. We've had a couple of cases within the last couple of weeks where agents have submitted cases to National Life Group. They got a hard time. They submitted to Transamerica. Transamerica snatched it up, instant approval, or very quick approval, I should say. The next carrier that accepts the Direct Express card, which is a more of a final expense only carrier, is Prosperity. We've done some training with Prosperity. We're not doing a ton of business with them right now, but it's still a really good carrier. They've got very liberal underwriting, and they do accept the Direct Express card. Just a reminder, when you do Prosperity, what's nice about them is that you can do their phone application, but if you do the phone application, you have to start the process on your computer. So it's best if you have your laptop available, and then you go into the Aptical site and you do you basically you're typing in all the customer's information, then you're going to get a reference number, and then you call Aptical to complete the phone interview. What's nice about that system is that they already have all the information. All they have to do is type in the reference number and it pulls everything up. And so it makes the phone interview very, very short. So next, I'm just going to go over our guaranteed issue companies. Gerber, which is I'm just telling you, that's my go-to company for guaranteed issue. And sometimes, if it's a small policy, I mean, if a client's only looking for like, $5,000 and all they have is a Direct Express card, sometimes I'll just go with Gerber. Even though I'm going to get paid as earned. It's a very simple application. Their rates are actually very competitive, especially if they're a smoker. Sometimes Gerber's rates, let's say you have a client that's going to be, I'll give you an example. Let's say they have a Direct Express card and they're a smoker and they have COPD and they're going to be, let's say, standard with Transamerica. Gerber's rates will be cheaper than Transamerica standard tobacco rating. They're incredibly cheap. And sometimes I'm just saying with these small policies, man, I'll just put it with Gerber just because of how quick and easy it is to do business with Gerber. The other one is AIG, another guaranteed issue product. They will accept the Direct Express card. By the way, these companies like Gerber, AIG, and the next one I'm going to get to is Great Western. They'll not only accept the Direct Express card, they'll also accept debit cards. So let's say you have the client that has a checking account, but they don't want to give you your the routing number and the account number. You can just do it on just a debit card. Just get their debit card number, and you can do it that way as well. So that's kind of our lineup of who accepts the Direct Express card. Again, it's Transamerica, Prosperity, Gerber Life, AIG, and Great Western. Okay.
Hey,
So,
Joe.
Yes.
So, you made a really good point there. Sometimes I hear from agents, they're in the field and the person does not have a bank account. All they have is this like a credit card or debit card, I should say, like a prepaid debit card. And even if that person may normally qualify for, let's say, a level coverage, but because of the form of payment, you're not able to place it, you can go ahead and just use that with Gerber or AIG and make the sell.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think Prosperity takes any credit card, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there you go.
I think they'll do not only Direct Express, but I think they do. I'd have to double check on that, but I'm thinking that they do any guys. You double check with Prosperity, but I want to say they'll accept just a regular debit card, even if it's not Direct Express. Transamerica, I know for sure, is only Direct Express, but yeah, Jimmy, I do that all the time, man. If I have a client that just has like some kind of prepaid card, I'll just put it on Gerber. Listen, I get paid as earned. If it lapses, it's not a big deal. I don't have to pay it back because it was as earned anyway. So the main thing is getting the client coverage. Don't lose a sale. Sometimes you got to think outside the box, and especially if it's a small amount. If it's like 5, 7, 10,000, Gerber's rates are super competitive. There's chances are it's probably no more than $5 or $10 more than what it would be had they had a bank account and could get, Mutual of Omaha or Transamerica. But with that, we are going to transition. We're going to do our agent interview. I'm going to get on Willie Certez. Let me just check. I see him here. Let me do a quick sound check. Let's see, attendee is self-muted. Hey, Willie, are you there?
Yes, Joe, how are you?
Hey, buddy, I'm doing good, man. How are things down in South Florida?
Everything is beautiful, Joe. Everything is good
Awesome.
in Florida.
So, guys, I wanted to get Willie Certez on. Willie and I, we talk quite often, at least probably a couple of times a week. I met Willie. When was that? I was down in. Was it about? I don't think it was a year. In fact, actually, it was just. It was like in February, right, of this year.
Yes, a few months ago, Joe, when you came down here to Orlando, we had a quick meeting.
Yeah. Okay, all right, yeah, that's what it was. I was thinking it was like a year ago. It just seems like you've been with us for so long, but that was really you were just. In fact, when I met you, I think you weren't even contracted yet, right? You were just you were thinking about coming on board.
Yes, and that's right, Joe. I mean, you and I talked, and I'm fairly new into the business. I mean, I've had a experience in sales for over 15 years in a different industry, but you and I talked, and it was all new to me then.
Awesome. Well, I was definitely very impressed with you when I met you, and I'm glad that you chose to be with Senior Solutions. Certainly appreciate you coming on board. But just from the very start, man, the one thing I just want to pay you a huge compliment is that you were very engaged from the very start, meaning you were constantly calling me, asking me questions. And this is something that Jimmy, I mean, how many times have we talked about this, about agent engagement? I'm just telling you, it's a proven fact that engagement makes a difference. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's people on this webinar, I see the names, that never call in, ask me questions, never call Jimmy, ask him questions. And what I'm telling you is that your business is suffering because of that. Man, be engaged. But the main reason Willie, the main reason why I wanted to get you on is just, from talking to you and how hard you're working, and I know you're going out and you're seeing these clients face to face, so I'd like for you to talk about that a little bit. But I'd also like for you to talk about the case that you just ended up putting through Royal Neighbors and the process that you went through. And what I admire about you is how you stayed with the client, you were engaged with your client, and you were persistent to make sure that you exhausted every avenue to get them the best coverage. So I'm going to turn it over to you and just very briefly, just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and tell us about maybe a little bit about your experience. It's only been, it's only been 4 months, but maybe tell us a little bit about your experience with Senior Solutions and how you're approaching things. So I'll turn it over to you, Willie, and I may have some questions. Okay.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks. Well,
Thanks, buddy.
Like Joe mentioned, I'm a fairly new agent in general to the business. Been with Joe for 4 months now. It's been a great ride. I mean, I get on the YouTube videos and all the trainings, and I've been doing exactly what I listen to. I mean, every video and carrier training that I see that Joe puts online and from other insurance people that are in the field as well, I use all that to go out and door knock and set appointments and do a phone call to clients and set appointments and really go out there in the field. I mean, I love going out there and helping clients. I've been in sales for a long time, over 15 years in the automotive industry, and I currently reside in Fort Lauderdale here in Florida. But I want to say that Joe and Lee, they help out tremendously. I mean, in a lot of my cases, when I visit clients and I need any help, any assistance, I mean, I either get Joe on the phone or Lee, and just talking to both of these guys, I mean, we're able to close clients and do the right thing. But I did want to talk today about Royal Neighbors. I use a handful of carriers, primarily Mutual, Americo, and as a third option, I go guaranteed issued, where Gerber or AIG for the most part. But watching the last few videos that we've talked and Joe has done on Royal Neighbors, I was a bit skeptical on using them because I was saying to myself, oh, we have to do a voice signature, or they have to do a phone call to the client and ask them some questions. But I can tell you this, this week, I visited a client where I submitted an application to a carrier. He answered no to all the questions, all the health questions.
Hey,
And
Willie,
yes, sir.
Willie, it's okay for you to tell us who the carriers are, okay?
Okay. Good
So
stuff.
who'd you submit the first app to?
I submit the first app to Mutual.
Okay.
And again, with Mutual of Omaha, great carrier. I do a lot of business with them. Very easy application. The client answered no to all the questions, and towards the end, where it almost felt like the deal was sealed, and I was going to get a quick approval or a policy number right there on the spot for day one coverage. I got a message on the bottom of the screen, and the screen said that the client was declined for living promise. At that point, I talked to the client a little bit. I told him, look, I'm going to get a response right away. I'll let you know what the next step is. But I had scheduled with that client to go visit him the following day to go do a policy review for his wife's insurance that she currently has, which I did do a policy review, and I believe I will be closing that client next week. Well, to keep the story short, I went back and I talked to Joe and said, hey, this is what happened. I mean, everything went fine. It seems like something got dinged on the MIB and the client got declined. So we talked about it. We talked about Americo. We talked about Royal Neighbors. So I went back the following day. I submitted an application with Americo, and not a full application because you get an approval right away because they do a quick MIB. And the client got approved, but they got approved for graded. They did not get approved for day one coverage.
When you say graded, are you talking about was it the guaranteed issue product?
Yes, their guaranteed issue
Okay.
product, which is what 3-year waiting time opposed to 2. So the client went that route, and I told the client right there on the spot. I said, look, I'm looking at your case, and we got declined on the first one, and this other carrier, which is America, is giving you their guaranteed issued. I'm just getting you ready for worst case scenario. If we have to go guaranteed issued with Gerber or AIG, your premiums are going to go up a bit. And at that time, I mean, I remember watching the videos and talking to Joe, and I told him, hey, I'm going to submit it with Royal Neighbors to see how that process works. I can tell you this about Royal Neighbors, right? I submitted a $5,000 policy. The premium was about $37.11. It was about $3 higher than mutual in this case. One of the easiest applications that I've submitted. I think I lasted no more than 10 minutes submitting that application, Joe, asking the questions and really submitting that application. And once I submitted the application, it gave me an instant approval. Instant approval with a certificate number, which is their policy numbers. And it told me that the client was fully approved with nothing more. Right after I submitted it, a little message popped up on the top right, and it said I had to call them to do a voice signature. And when I called Royal Neighbors, I was with the customer, with the client. I didn't wait on the phone no longer than a minute. I mean, it was real easy. I talked to them. I told them, hey, I'm at the client's house. I got this certificate ID. I'm just doing the voice signature. And they transferred me to the right department. I can tell you this, in this particular case, and I'm not sure if all cases will be the same, the client said about 2 or 3 words when they asked a question or two, and it was a done deal. And I asked them, hey, is that it? Do we have to do anything else at this point? And Royal Neighbors told me, no, you know what? The policy has been issued. You're going to see a certificate ID on the website tomorrow, and it's a done deal. There's nothing else needed in this case. But what I can really tell you about this is that this client in the past, after talking to the client, he was concerned that he was not going to get approved. And he ended up telling me at the end, hey, I got declined for a policy years ago, and I thought I wasn't insurable. So I just stopped and did nothing else. And again, I went in there at the end thinking, hey, worst case scenario, I'm going to get him a guaranteed issued policy, 2-year waiting period. It's better than nothing. But we were able to get that client day one coverage with Royal Neighbors. And he was ecstatic. I mean, he was happy. His wife was happy. And it's a done deal. And I know I have another policy that I'm going to be adding to his wife as well. But I did want to talk about Royal Neighbors. Again, if you don't have Royal Neighbors in your book of business, I can tell you Mutual is one of my go-tos. America, Royal Neighbors is definitely in that list. And guaranteed issue worst case scenario. But I just wanted to share that just have your options. And if you get a decline, for example, with America, really know that some carriers are more liberal than others. And Royal Neighbors is a great carrier. Every time I've called, there's been less than a minute wait time on the phone, Joe.
Awesome.
And that's all I got.
I do have a couple of questions for you. With this client, they got declined through Mutual, and then America was guaranteed issue. Did you ever figure out what the hit was on the MIB?
No, Joe, and look, but I did get an email from the carrier from Mutual, and they did tell me it was something on his MIB. I didn't search it any further. I mean, once the client was approved, he was approved, and I moved on at that point. I didn't do any more search.
Got it. No, I understand. So it wasn't the prescription history, it was the MIB that got him declined.
Yes, it was
Okay.
the MIB from what I got from Mutual.
All right, very good. Couple other things I just wanted to ask you real quick is, so the majority of the sales that you're making now, are you going out to see your clients face to face?
I am, Joe. I mean, I can tell you this. I've been calling clients. About 75% of them are receptive, and they'll set an appointment over the phone. The ones that I can't get on the phone, I'm door knocking, and I'm able to set an appointment within a few days right after that. So I've been doing face-to-face visits and taking care of clients without a problem, Joe.
Okay, so you're not getting much pushback when you call to make an appointment. Would you say the majority of your clients are open to a face-to-face appointment?
Absolutely, Joe. If I can tell you, I think I only got one client that told me, hey, follow up with me in 2 weeks. Everyone else has been open, and I've been going out there helping clients out.
Okay, and then with this application you did with Royal Neighbors, it sounded like you did the e-application then, right?
Absolutely, Joe. And
Okay.
the easiest application I've done, again, it took no more than 10 minutes. I mean, the application is very short. I couldn't even believe I was done with the application, and I got an
Got it.
approval.
Okay, so FYI, guys, you can have with Royal Neighbors, you've got 3 options. You can do a paper application, which I don't recommend. You can do the e-application, which is great, and then basically you do the e-application, and then you follow up and do the voice signature, and you get an instant approval. Or if you don't have a computer, you can do 100% over the phone. So if your Royal Neighbors is a great carrier, if you're selling remotely, or if you're out in the field and you don't have your tablet or your computer, you can still do Royal Neighbors, and it's like Liberty Bankers. You can do the entire application right over the phone without having a computer, without having to use your client's email or anything like that. When you did the application with Royal Neighbors, just refresh my memory because I'm trying to remember from our training. Did it require you to put in the client's email address, or could you skip that part since you were face to face anyway?
I believe you could skip it, Joe. In my case, I entered it because the client was right there in front of me, but and he had an email address. But I believe there is an option where you can skip that process.
Right, but how you did it, because you were face to face, you didn't send your client an email to do an electronic signature, right? You just did it right from your tablet or laptop?
Yes, right from the iPad, and I can tell you this, it doesn't even require the client to physically do like an actual signature on the screen. All he has to do is type his name, and I'm assuming that's why at the end of the application they require a voice signature to
Sure.
finalize the application.
Yep. That's pretty slick. And then one last question. I don't know if Jimmy has any questions. Just tell me a little bit about the type of leads that you're working. Are they direct mail? Are they Facebook leads, digital leads? What kind of leads are you working?
Well, Joe, I've done a little bit of, I mean, Facebook leads and direct mail leads. I do a lot of social media as well, just advertising different options that we have for clients. But I can definitely tell you this: the best form of lead that I like to use is direct mail lead.
Okay.
Direct mail leads, whether it's an age lead, it's a new lead, a lead is a lead to me. But I definitely like showing the client, hey, you signed for this direct mail that was sent to you, and providing them that information. It's a whole lot easier of a sale when I actually go out there and physically show the client that I have a direct mail from them.
Got it. Awesome. Hey, Jimmy, do you have any questions for Willie?
Well, I don't have any questions, but I do have some comments, and I wanted to first congratulate you on being persistent and not giving up. Um, and I got to commend you, for a new agent, like myself. I've been in sales really since I was a teenager, and when I first came into this industry, the cool thing is because I already had that skill set on how to work with people and how to, ask the questions and qualify, close, all that stuff. It was a pretty simple process. Just all I had to learn was like the product and learn, how to apply what I already knew how to do specific to this industry. And I did have to learn some stuff like door knocking and, how to set up the appointments. But, if you have the skill set and you're new, you could be successful right from the beginning. And so I got to commend you on that. And then I wanted to just, if you haven't already done so, just give you a little tip. Like this guy that you did that extra effort to get him approved. He didn't think he would qualify, and he was so ecstatic and so happy. Anytime you have that super special relationship or super special scenario, that is an opportunity to get a lot of referrals. So my recommendation to you, Willie, is like follow up with this guy in a couple of weeks, ask him if he received the policy, and then set up an appointment to go back out and review the policy with him. And then so to them, you're already a hero, but now you didn't forget about him after the sale. You're actually coming out to review, make sure everything's right, checking the beneficiary, all that stuff. And then at that point, you're just simply going to ask them for referrals. Just say, hey, who in your family or who are your friends that you know of that you really think that needs some insurance? Help me out. Who can I call to set up an appointment with? And now you're going to get some free leads. And because it's a warm referral, your credibility is already established, and it just makes it easier to build on that. So that's my recommendation to you, Willie. I don't know if you have any other comments, Joe or Willie, if you want to comment.
Hey Jimmy, and thank you for that recommendation. I actually told the client that when the policy gets sent out to his house, to call me, and I was going to physically go there and go over the policy and try to write up his wife at the same time as well, with the policy, and get those referrals. But I can tell you this, when I told that client, hey, I'll come back tomorrow to do a policy review for your wife, he kind of looked at me and said, hey, really? Would you do that? Like most agents don't do that. And I said, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. And I came by tomorrow, the following day, and I was able to write him. And after I sealed the deal and he got fully approved, I told him the same thing, Jimmy, to get those leads, and told him, look, once you get your actual policy in the mail, please call me, and I will come back out here again and do another full policy review with you. And at that point in time, I'm definitely going to go after those leads.
Beautiful. Well, I got a couple other little tips for you, and I'm glad that you're following the program, because that's exactly what we teach. One, sometimes these people forget to call you back, or they misplace your number. They get busy with life. They stick that policy somewhere, and then they forget about it, right? So make sure you put it on your calendar to call him. But the other tip I have for you is twofold. One, when you go back out there, maybe you already done this. We hadn't talked about this in a long time, but it's on one of our webinars. Is when you go back out there, tell him you want to program your phone number into his phone. You do it for him, and then you put under their life insurance agent. Because what's going to happen 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, he's not going to remember your name, but he can type in life insurance, and your name will pop up and your number will pop up. And that way he can call you to get referrals. The other thing you can do is you can go to these little specialty shops that make promotional materials for businesses, and make some coffee cups. And if you want to put your picture on there, go for it. But for the main thing is you want to put your business name, your name and phone number on the coffee cup. A lot of our clientele love to drink coffee in the morning. You take them that coffee cup, they got your phone number on there every day. That's going to be their favorite coffee cup to use, and they can always refer to that coffee cup. So just throw that in there for you.
That's awesome, Jimmy. Thanks for that information. I'll use it.
Hey, Jimmy, yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about that, guys, but let me just tell you something. Coffee cups are the best, and they're cheap. You can order them, even Vistaprint. If you go to Vistaprint, you can design your own coffee cup. They'll ship it right to your house. And I think any orders over $50, you get free shipping. And if you order enough of them, you can get the cost down to, I don't know, like $1 or something. I mean, really inexpensive. Or you can use a local shop as well. But the thing that's so great about coffee cups is that nobody ever throws them away. I got coffee cups from like 30 years ago that I got, but it's just like you don't throw them away. And what's cool about the coffee cup is that even if they don't use it, it's still in their cupboard. And if they ever like lose your number, they know that they can always go back to that coffee cup and get your information. So that's a great little tip that we haven't talked about in a long, long time. So, but Willie, thanks for coming on, brother. Thanks for sharing your amazing story, and just so proud of you and how you stayed consistent and persistent and made sure you got that agent or that client the coverage that they deserve. And just job well done, brother. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right, man. If you need anything, I know we talk a lot, but again, if you need anything, just give me a call. Okay.
Will do. Thanks.
All right, guys. All right, man. All right, guys. Well, with that, we are going to move into a special segment today. It's Jimmy's tip of the week. And then so I'm going to make Jimmy the presenter here. And just so you guys know too, Jimmy's been with Senior Solutions for a long time now. Jimmy is he's our certified registered financial advisor for Senior Solutions. He's a fiduciary, which means he's held at a much higher standard, much higher regulation than just having a regular insurance license. So I learned a lot from Jimmy. He's very knowledgeable on securities and different things like that. Has a lot of great ideas. So I'm gonna Jimmy, I know you're already on, but I'm gonna make you the presenter, and then you can go over your tip of the week. Okay?
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hop on and to do this. Let me just.
You bet. Thank you for the introduction too. I gotta say, Joe, he's the best, man. He supports you in your endeavors. About 2 years ago, when I first wanted to start getting into the financial services, I had a seminar set up here at one of the local colleges, and I, spent quite a bit of money, and actually Joe helped fund that. Putting that together, and Joe flew all the way into Chicago just to help me launch. So Joe, I'll never forget that. I really appreciate you. Are you able to see my screen, Joe?
Not yet. I think you just have to accept the invitation.
Oh, I didn't see that come across.
Oh, okay. Let me do it again. No, I don't want to do that. Let's see here. All right, let me just click on change presenter.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
All right. Are you able to see my screen now?
No, I just see Jimmy's tip of the week.
Okay, so guys, I apologize. Let's see here, show screen. Now?
No, I think it's something I did. Give me 1 second. Let me end this. All right. Okay, now I think it was me. Let's see here. Yeah, now I see your screen.
Okay, you just see like a white page?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, it says now viewing Jimmy's screen, so it's fixed.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, today's tip is, how do you make some extra money? Who'd like to make some extra money on top of what you're already doing? And so I want to talk about finding annuity money, and I'm going to show you a quick little sketch on how you can show this to your customers to gather the information and go ahead and then come back to Joe or myself and get us involved to help you close an annuity. Now, so just, for real quick, let's say basic, knowledge, what is an annuity? Why would you want to offer that to your client? So an annuity, the first form of an annuity is to provide income. So, we've all heard of pensions. Let's say you work for the government or the railroad, and then when you retire, they give you a pension with a guaranteed income for the remainder of your life. But pensions are so small now in comparison to the retirement formats out there. Most people have a 401k with their employer. So now they have accumulated this bucket of money, and what do they do with it? How do they get that income for life? So we take that bucket of money, we purchase an annuity, and that's going to provide them a guaranteed source of income for the remainder of their life, right? And so that's what an annuity does. Now, there's also another thing called a growth annuity, where maybe they don't need the income, but they want that to continue to grow and accumulate, but they don't want their money in the marketplace because, they're very risk adverse, right? So you have, two types of annuities. You got one for income or one for growth. And so I just want to say, I know I've been in the field, I've been in final expense for 5 years now. The vast majority of the time when we're visiting with people, these folks don't have that bucket of money. Okay. So I know that, but I also know that sometimes you come across that one that does, but you have to ask the questions and you have to probe. And so, when you go to that person's house and you simply ask, do you have any other beneficiary, items that when you pass away, that money's going to go to your family? Do you have a retirement account, a bank account? What do you have that, an insurance policy that when you pass away, the money's going to go? So that's how you find the money, right? So how do you get them to do business with you? So for the purpose of this illustration, let's say you talk to them and you find out that they have this huge 401k, and maybe it's huge, maybe it's small, it doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if they only have $20,000 or if they have $1 million, right? But for the sake of this presentation, we're going to assume that they have a $1 million 401k or IRA, and they got $1 million sitting up there. And how are you going to help them? Maybe these folks are about to retire or just recently retired, right? And so we got that money. So after you ask the questions, you listen to them, you just simply say, I've been listening to you, and I hear that you have some concerns, and definitely you want to make sure you get income. But so now, if you allow me, let me take the floor for a minute, and let me just tell you about the big picture. So here's your $1 million that you have in retirement, and here at Senior Solutions, we have a financial, department, and what we like to do is we want to show you some options. So I'm going to draw two arrows here, right? And so on the left here, this is going to be your growth bucket, and on the right, this is going to be your income bucket. And so let's just for argument's sake or illustration's sake, that what, we're going to take 250,000 and we're going to put it in your growth bucket, and we're going to take the 750,000 and that's going to be in your income bucket. Okay. Now, the income bucket, this is money you want to put that's going to be somewhere that's going to basically a percentage of this is going to go and translate to dollars. And these dollars, it's very important because this is what you're going to live off of. This is going to provide you your income day to day. This is how you're going to pay your bills, and this is how you're going to do your shopping. This is what you're going to live off of. And being that this bucket for income is that important, would you say that you want that to be conservative, or would you want to be that in an aggressive portfolio? Most people are going to say conservative, and you're going to say exactly, we're going to put this over here in something on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most aggressive, like a 3 or a 4, moderately conservative portfolio, because we want to provide that income. Now, this is going to be on top of any Social Security benefits that you're getting, or maybe they do have a pension, or on top of your pension. What we like to do is we like to figure out how much money do you need to live on, and whatever you're lacking here, we're going to buy that guaranteed income in the form of an annuity, right? So that's this bucket on the right, the income bucket. Now the bucket on the left, we're going to use that for growth. So we want bucket on the, the growth bucket to be in an opportunity where it's going to grow you some more income, and this is probably going to be more of like a 6 or a 7 on that risk scale. And the cool thing about the growth bucket is that this can fluctuate. This can go up or down depending on what's going on in the market, but it's not going to affect your income at all, right? So we got this locked down on the right. So no matter what's happening over here, your income is not being affected. Now, what's happening on the left, what our strategy is to put this in a conservative portfolio that's going to grow over time, and we want to grow this up to about 300,000. Now, depending on what's going on in the market, that might be in 6 months, or that might be 3 years from now. But whenever this amount hits 300,000, we're going to go ahead and take that growth, and we're going to transfer it over here to this side. And so now we're going to go ahead and get you some more income. And so we're going to take this and we're going to change this amount, and we're going to add that in, and that's going to be 800,000. So maybe we buy, another annuity, or we put that in something else. But now you got more money. So now you just got a raise, and now this money just went up, and you're making more money every month, right? And then this bucket on the left, the growth bucket, is still growing. And every time we get that up to 300,000, we're going to shift that over to the right. And that's doing 2 things for you. One, it's giving you a raise. You're keeping up with inflation. And the other thing it's doing is it's protecting your growth. In the event of a down market, we've already moved that over to the safe side. So guys, that's the way you're gonna, present that to your customer. Most people, it's very simple. They like how it sounds. They want to get more information, and that's just enough to gather the information, get that back to Joe or myself. That way we can set up the next appointment. By the way, as a financial advisor, I'm licensed in all 50 states. So I can help them regardless of what state you're in. I can set up a Zoom conference meeting, and I can, have you in that meeting as well. I'm gonna, basically sit down with that client, get some more information, find out more specifically what their goals and, what their needs are, what their objectives are, what their risk tolerance is. And then I can come back in and make that recommendation. As a financial advisor, I got to tell you, people really listen once I get in and they understand I know what I'm talking about when it comes to finances. They really listen and they take my recommendation and they act on it. And so when we break off that piece that's going to be an annuity, you're going to be able to write that up because you're licensed as an insurance agent to write annuities, and that's going to be your sell. I'm not going to take a part of it. It's not going to be a split deal. That's all for you. Because I am licensed for securities, let's say, for example, this 250 that we're talking about over here on the left, we're going to put that into assets under management, and I'll be able to earn some money on that. But I'm here to help you sell that annuity. It's very rare I've come across somebody that they want to put the entire amount into an annuity. That just scares people. We've been taught our whole lives, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I definitely believe in that. We need some diversification, and we need to have a strategy or plan to help them continue to grow that bucket on the left that's going to help feed the income on the right. So that's what I have for you today. Maybe you guys can take a screenshot of that. If you're really interested, maybe we can do some one-on-one training. But Joe, do you have any questions?
I do. The main question I have is, and this has been my experience, and I just want to see if you relate to it, is that it seems like the majority of clients that I talk to that do have a bucket of money, typically it's a 401k, is that most of them would like to draw a stream of income from it, but they just don't know how to do it. And one of their biggest worries is that they never know how much to take out, and they're constantly worried about running out of money. So therefore, they don't take money, and they live like they're in poverty because they're always so scared about, oh my God, I can't take money out. I can't take money out. You know, they're scared of the market. I just think this is a brilliant idea because I think most clients, and like you said, most people retiring today don't have pensions. Pensions are something that have, unless you have a government job, they really have gone to the wayside. But everybody, I think most people understand the concept of a pension. And isn't that really what you're doing? You're taking their bucket of money of 401k and you're really almost converting that into a pension?
That's exactly what we're doing. In fact, pensions are funded by annuities. So let's say, for example,
Okay.
somebody worked for the railroad, and the railroad, let's say they had that $1 million in the pension for you, and you retire. They go to an insurance company and they buy an income annuity. That is the pension. The pension is an annuity. So all we're doing is for those folks that they're not in a pension plan, we're able to offer that to them. Now, what I found today, it's very common. People are getting ready to retire. Maybe they don't have a pension plan, but they have a 401k. Their employers are offering them a couple of options. They're offering them the annuity, so they can do a lump sum into an annuity, and they're going to provide an income for life. Sometimes they're offering them just the full lump sum, or sometimes they're offering a combination, like you can put X amount of dollars into the annuity for income, and then you're going to get X amount of dollars for a lump sum distribution. That is very common today. Here's what I tell people is, let us give you an illustration. Let us take a look at that, because many times we can offer them something better than what they're going to get through their employer. And so we have some really good products. Nassau Re has probably the best income out there in the industry right now. So just depending on what their goals are, what their purpose is, we can put something together too. Sometimes I come across people that they're very adverse of annuities, because the annuities had a bad, I guess you can say, stigmatism to them. A while back, people were selling variable annuities that were tied to the stock market. And when everything crashed back in 2008, they lost a ton of their money and their annuity didn't perform the way it was supposed to. Well, guys, we don't sell variable annuities. We're selling indexed, or what they call fixed indexed annuities. So their money is safe, right? You don't need to go into all this with your client, but you can allow me to explain it to them. But just know that we're not dealing with variable annuities. We're working with fixed indexed annuities. They're safe. The client's not at risk of losing anything, and we're going to provide them either a guaranteed income, or we're going to provide them with growth depending on what they're looking for. think I might have got off track. Did I answer your question, Joe?
Yeah, you did. Brilliant. So, guys, with that, I mean, here's the thing, Jimmy. At the end of the day, you're. I always say this, man, is that as an insurance agent, you're never gonna write an annuity if you don't discover the money. So the key is to not be afraid to ask those questions. Your client, I promise you, I've sold thousands and thousands of policies. I've never had a client ever ask me, "Oh, by the way, Joe, do you sell annuities?" No, none of them. They'll never ask you that. Okay. So it's our job to discover, to find the money, and then most of us are not annuity experts, including myself. I mean, I have a pretty good idea of how they work, and I've sold plenty of annuities. But the idea is to let's get that client over to Jimmy, let him educate them, especially if it's a big amount, okay? And let him do the Zoom seminar, and he will do the selling for you. And like he said, there's no you're still getting, we're not splitting any deals. You're getting 100% of your comp on the annuity. So I appreciate you, as a financial advisor, Jimmy, I appreciate you offering those solutions and your services to the entire Senior Solutions agency.
You bet. And then Joe, if I can just say a couple of quick things. So one,
Yeah.
when you're showing this, don't say and don't use the word annuity. Okay, I forgot to mention that. So
Okay.
that income bucket on the right, we're not telling them what that bucket is going to be. Okay, so just leave that blank. Okay, don't create any negative vibe or product pitching. You're just saying this is the income bucket and this is the growth bucket. Okay, so that's the number one thing I can tell you right there. I also wanted to say from experience, I've been in houses that, I mean, my God, like I kind of question, like, is this really habitable? I mean, I've been in some really, really rough homes and uncovered opportunities for annuities. So don't judge the book by the cover. Make sure you ask the questions. A lot of times they're sitting on money, and maybe it's not $1 million. Maybe they're sitting on 30,000. Maybe they're sitting on 80,000. Maybe they just got an inheritance, but these people don't know what to do with it. They don't know who to ask. They don't know the right place to go. So that's our job, is to help them with that. The other thing is just to give you a motivation, depending the annuities, first off, they pay a commission based on the type of product you're selling. So some products, they offer bonuses to clients, some don't. Based on the product, the commission rate varies, right? But I would say on the low end, you're looking about a 5% commission, and on the high end, maybe 8 or even 9. But let's just take the example of the low end. Let's just say worst case scenario, you're getting a 5% commission. Let's say you found an annuity for $100,000, and we're able to write that for you, right? So you get the commission. Joe, what's 5% of 100,000?
That's $5,000.
$5,000. All right. So remember, I told you at the beginning, how would you like to find some extra money on what you're already doing? On $100,000, how'd you like to make an extra $5,000? That ought to buy you some extra leads right there, Joe.
Yeah, I tell you what, you do that. You find four, even if you just find 4 or 5 annuities, a year, you're talking anywhere from 25 to 50,000 extra a year in income.
Yep. And here's the other thing I'm going to tell you is that sometimes you have a person that doesn't qualify for life insurance. We heard from Willie earlier, he had a success story where he was able to get them coverage, but sometimes these people, they're not going to qualify. The only thing they're going to have is guaranteed issue. But an annuity is not tied to medical. So there's no medical underwriting on an annuity. So this also could be positioned as a death benefit for somebody. So
Very good
I have
point.
one other little tip to tell you, Joe. The very first annuity I ever wrote, my commission on it was $27,000. And I've been hooked on annuities ever since. You can do a lot with a lump sum like that, put in your deposit in your bank account. So guys, go out there, find the opportunities, bring them back. Let us help you put these deals together so we can put some extra money in your pocket. I'll turn it back over to you, Joe.
All right, cool. Thanks, Jimmy. All right, guys. Well, we're just going to go ahead and from right here, I think this is a great spot to end the webinar. We'll get the recording out to you guys. Have a great weekend, and if you need any help, give me a call. Be more than happy to help you guys. All right, take care, everybody. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jimmy.